It is November 8th, 2025. We're here at the property of 4510 Acacia Avenue in La Mesa, California, 91941. We're going to inspect the sewer main and the kitchen drain line. We've got in front of the property here, sidewalk, and then we've got a backwater valve. That's what this large opening is. That's the little circular disc that we took out so the camera won't interfere and get caught on it. It's essentially a gate. So we have a pop-up overflow for the sewer in this clean out, and then we have the other clean out right here. So we'll first go down the clean out that sweeps away from the house just to look at the line from here out to the street. So this is still all ABS plastic, and then now we have green bell PVC pipe that the city or a contractor, General A, may have put in. So all newer pipe. The house is vacant, but we did run tons of water when we got here, so that if there's any sags or bellies to the pipe, we'll have water inside there showing that problem. Okay, we've got one little root intrusion right here where the greenbelt PVC ends and it goes into the clay pipe. And then my guess is we've only got a short section on the clay before we dump into the city. And yep, there, in fact, there's the city right there. There's our drop. So we're just about 41 feet away before you get into the city line. Pull that back out. And so the one root intrusion that's out in the street is the responsibility of the homeowner. The city of La Mesa does not manage or take care of those lines, which is your lateral, including the T-junction in the street. But this is a simple fix of just chain knocking the roots out of the system right here. So it's an easy cleaning job, and a chain knocker or a hydrojetter can rip all the roots out in the full circumference. A regular snaking cable won't do that typically because you're having to use a very large cutting bit to try to get through there and get it around. So anyway, those are the two methods that can remove all these roots out of the system right here, right where this green bell PVC plastic pipe ends and it becomes the clay again. So you can see those roots right there. So that needs to be cleaned up. It can just be maintained. There is a foaming root chemical sold at Amazon, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, pretty much everywhere, called Robic Foaming Root Killer. Comes in a 1-pound bottle for about $20 or so ballpark. It treats 25 feet of pipe, so you would need 2 bottles of that. And you would mix those 2 bottles up in a bucket, pour it down the clean out that we just went down here with the camera, and then follow that by about 1.5 gallons of water, and then you let that sit for 6 hours or overnight, and that will foam up in the pipe, and when it gets down to the roots, it'll coat them, and it will kill them and keep them from growing back in. It will not disintegrate or remove the roots that are already there, but it will kill them for a few feet away from the sewer pipe. So that's our recommendation for these roots here. One-time cleaning, and then after that, the homeowner can do the chemical treatment themselves on an annual basis to keep those from growing in. The first treatment would be done about 3 to 4 weeks after the cleaning, ripping out those roots is done. So now we're going to go ahead and see how far up from this box we can actually get towards the house, because there's big elevation changes. So if the pipe has some upward turns of fittings, our camera's not going to push that way. So then we'll just have to go from the rooftop vent unless there's some other access in the crawl space that they put in a clean out. So we'll see. So yeah, here's that big vertical upturn. So we'll see how far we can push. You can see some fat, grease, or sludgy paper debris right there in the line. That's going to be typical. Heavy debris, even on a vertical like that, gets outrun, or the water outruns it, so it gets left behind. But it doesn't need a cleaning or anything like that. Okay, this is all ABS plastic pipe. Looks like we've got another turn on the line right here. Yeah, so this is going to be really difficult. There we go. We were able to get that. Still going uphill. And there's the clean out. So there is a clean out at the very beginning of the system, but it's in the crawl space. So we're able to get it from all out here. So We've got only one bathroom in this property and then the kitchen line. So you can see this is the very beginning of the sewer line, and there's that little plug right there. Vertically just above it, that's probably right where the toilet dumps and empties into the system right there. So we're going to leave this camera intact in the line here, and we're going to go ahead and pause the video. We're going to go ahead and look at the kitchen drain line to make sure that looks good on the inside, doesn't have anything wrong with it. So we'll go ahead and move over to the side of the house. Okay, so we're here in the crawl space. We have the bathtub running right now. So this 2-inch line right here you see traveling across right here, that is the kitchen laundry line. It tees in here to the main. There's the toilet coming out of the floor right there. Right above this, it's called wet venting. That's the vent for the toilet. Well, they did wet venting. They have a T on the line, and that goes to an 1.5-inch pipe that runs over and back over to where the bathtub is, the drain farther downstream there. So this is leaking right here where this 2-inch T is glued. Little awkward angle, it got stressed and now it's snapped and is broken. So unfortunately there's no pipe in between the floor and all the other fittings here to get this repaired individually. This whole area would have to be cut out to fix this leaky pipe basically. Additionally, the bathtub drain that is traveling all the way from down there and then going over to the left, kind of hard to see from here, that's a little over 6 feet long. So 1.5-inch pipes can only travel for 3.5 feet before you get to the vent. And because the toilet vent that's right here is essentially also the vent for the tub. So the drain, even if it was 2-inch, would be too long. You can only travel 5 feet for 2-inch. So they don't have that vented properly. That's not going to be a functional issue though in the long term, but we just have to note it that it's not to code. So that drain pipe and vent connection here, T, is all going to have to be redone around this whole area because it is leaking. You can see the water trail leaking down from the pipe. So again, it's right here at this 2-inch piece right there. It's where it's starting from, where it's snapped. Right at the 3x2 low heel outlet fitting for the toilet. Everything else is in good shape and not leaking on the system and is all functional. We did find that the kitchen faucet is not turning smooth and full pressure, so that's going to probably need to be replaced. There's no air gap for the dishwasher drain, so when that kitchen faucet is replaced, it has a side sprayer. So the hole in the countertop that's being used for the side sprayer, that's where the air gap can be put in to bring that part of the drain system up to code. So that concludes the recording for this property.